All right, man, you're ready to go.
Welcome to Race Time Radio. You'll hear from the best in Canadian U.S. racing this week. Grab a cold one and stick around.
All right, you're good. They got a car in the wall.
The starter tower has signaled. We're ready to roll. It's Race Time Radio, and it starts right now. Here's your host, Joe Chisholm.
Everybody have a safe one. Keep her in one piece.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Race Time Radio. So glad you could tune in tonight, all live on SiriusXM, channel 167, Canada Talks. Also on our YouTube channel. Check that out, RaceTimeRadioTV, all live on YouTube. And welcome to all the RevTV viewers right here on Race Time Radio. So glad you could tune in tonight. Flying solo tonight. No Junior in the studio. Feeling a little under the weather. I asked him if it was hair of the dog. He said, nope. Was nothing to do with that. He is nevertheless not feeling too good tonight. So he is taking the night off, which we want him to get better and get back in here. He's got a busy weekend next weekend. Of course, Motorama fires up at the International Centre in Toronto, and we're going to talk lots about that tonight. Let me tell you who we got coming on the show tonight. Going to kick it all off here in mere moments with a real cool story that I know everyone will enjoy, coast to coast. Douglas Fischer, drives the number 3 car in the Oscar Hot Rod division. Known Doug for a lot of years. Started his racing career back at Sauble Speedway, back when I had the Speedway. Douglas Fischer is he's got a Nova all ready to go. He has been running Oscar for a few years, and this year is going to be what he has coined the bucket list tour. That's right. Douglas is going to not only run here in the province of Ontario, but Douglas is taking the show on the road, and he's taking it all the way out to the east coast of Canada, out to the Maritimes, and he's going to participate at a bunch of tracks out there. We're going to catch up with Doug here tonight on the show right off the hop, and we're going to get all the skinny on what the bucket list tour is all going to entail. But I know you'll really enjoy this guest. He's a really good guy. Also coming on the show tonight, we have got Greg MacPherson from Inside Track Motorsport News. Of course, one of the promoters at Motorama that is going to take place next weekend. You got less than, 6 days, and things are going to go green at Motorama. Great car show in the city. Right off Derry Road there, International Centre in Toronto. We'll catch up with Greg and get all the latest on the show just before they go green, which is next weekend. We'll catch up with Greg here tonight. We'll get off to the Canada's East Coast tonight. In the Maritimes, we're going to catch up with Craig McFetridge. Have you heard of MASS? It's the Auto World MASS Sportsman Tour. And it started up a couple of years ago. Man, I'll tell you what, he's lighting the lamp with the series out there. He has added another division this year. That's right, the street stocks are now under the banner of MASS, and they're the Dulux street stocks, the Auto World Sportsman class. We're going to catch up with Craig McFetridge on the show tonight. He's busy to get a lot of touring in this year, out in the Maritimes, and we'll get the latest on absolutely all of it. Then, also in hour number 2, Craig's hour number 2, but in hour number 2, we're going to go all the way out to Canada's West Coast, and we got to bring in Trevor Seibert once again. Of course, it's the Western Rattler 300 weekend coming up on May the 5th and 6th weekend. You don't want to miss this. You won't have to. If you can't be at the track, we're going to have it for you live on Race Time. But you got to be at the Speedway, if at all possible, at Penticton Speedway. Trevor is going to join us tonight and give us some really big updates. I'm not sure what they are, but Trevor said, Joe, I got some huge news that we're going to roll out right here on Race Time Radio in hour number 2 tonight. So we're in for a dandy here. And what do you say we get to the Zoom line right now And we'll bring in that Douglas Fischer kind of guy, the driver of the number 3 in the Oscar Hot Rod Series. Doug, what's going on? How you doing? You're looking good there, kid. How are you?
Oh, we're not too bad. We're working hard this winter, and we're looking forward to an early spring and some race car racing around Canada.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't seen you behind the wheel of the 3-car. The last time I seen you behind the wheel of a race car was all the way back towards the beginning. At that time, I want to say it was a Monte Carlo you had zipping around the racetrack. The number 3 was some neon on it. And, man, you were the only guy that I know of that had the Toronto Sun on his race car. And Page 3 was a big unit back in those days.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun back then. And they gave us a couple Sunshine Girls to go racing with every Saturday night at the track, which made it a lot of fun for the fans and not hard on the eyes either.
Yeah, I would say, Doug, you've always been one of those racers that has absolutely loved everything about this sport. I've seen you not only behind the wheel and in the pit area. I've seen you when, maybe things weren't so good, sitting in the grandstand. You didn't miss a race. It sounds like the tradition is continuing, only now back behind the wheel of a 3-car, and it's a Nova, one probably near and dear to a lot of fans' hearts.
Yeah, it's a 71 Nova SS, and we're one of the original Oscar hot rods that came out in 2017, so we're pretty happy to come back out. And after learning a few years riding it around the various tracks, we think maybe we've hooked onto how to set it up and give it a diet and updates and take it out again with a new coat of paint.
Well, it's kind of cool. I've been following along on your Facebook page and watching the progression. Man, you've done a lot of work to that race car. You have stripped it right down to nothing and then basically rebuilt the whole thing once again. And it looks like you've done another stellar job this year, getting it ready to go for the bucket list tour.
Well, we got Sean McWhirter at Streamline Race Products, and he's really been amazing with us. His stuff comes out of the box really fast, and we've used the best of everything that we could get our hands on, and all our old stuff that was kicking around the garage that we threw together what we consider probably the best ride I've ever had.
Pretty cool when you can put a car together. I love the Oscar Hot Rod class, and I know they've got it going on the East Coast of Canada too. With the champions out there. But when I look at that class, it's something that, that car that is too old for a lot of divisions that would normally go to a barn and rust its way to heaven. Not so now. Man, you can get those cars, whether it be, an offset chassis, whether it be a perimeter car. It doesn't seem to matter what the makeup is of that race car. What's it like trying to put a car together with, kind of an open rule book, so to speak? But there are rules that you got to go by, right?
Well, there's penalties too. So the more you put into it, the more, of course, weight penalties you're going to get for your updates and more high tech. The more vintage the car is, I think the easier, lighter it is. You don't have to make as much power, and sometimes they work a lot better depending on the track. I mean, it's too much horsepower is not a good thing either. Smooth is fast.
Yeah. So what's it been like the last, how many years have you been back behind the wheel? Is it 3 years you've been going?
Well, yeah, 3 years we've been since COVID hit. We closed our business down our simulator store, and we focused this bit on building a car from the ground up. Tore it all apart, got a brand new body for it. We did all the updates, put it all back together again. And it's our 25th anniversary racing this season coming up. So we're looking for something that was really motivating to get us back on behind the wheel, and I think we've come up across it with our bucket list tour.
That's so cool, and it tells you a lot, fans, about Douglas. The guy thinks all the time for someone to come up with a bucket list tour and sort of, put it into activation. That's what Douglas is all about. Doug, tell us about the schedule that you got arranged. Where can fans see you first, and how's the whole bucket list tour going to unfold, so to speak?
We're going to start out at Sauble Speedway with our 25th anniversary when they open up there with the Oscar Hot Rods. We want to go to the Nationals at Delaware. It's a track we haven't raced at, and this year on the bucket list tour, we're trying to collect as many new tracks as we possibly can to just knock them off that list. So we're going to head to the East Coast And on the 22nd of July, we're going to be in New Brunswick for Petty Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to head out after there to, I guess the 5th is Oyster Bed in PEI. And then Scotia Speed World in Halifax. And finishing it up on the 19th at Riverside in Nova Scotia. Out there, just outside of Antigonish.
Oh, man. Are you in for an incredible season? Now, you are no stranger to the east coast of Canada. You do have some roots there, correct?
I got some family out there, and we were out in the Canadian Navy there when I was younger. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I have one of my best friends out there as well, Gary Elliott. He's out there this year, the Ironman. Mm-hmm. He's celebrating 50 years of Quaker State. He's our honorary crew chief. He is crewing us for the event while we're out there, kind of taking us under his wing. And he knows all about those tracks because, of course, he's racing pro out there.
Mm-hmm.
For the 3 of the 4 nights, he's also racing with us. He's racing his car the same night we're racing the hot rod. So we're really looking forward to working with him. And we're taking the barbecue car.
Yeah. You got to tell us about this barbecue car. I've heard about it, but tell us about it.
Well, in 2014, Sean McWhorter and myself, we he designed and fabricated us a barbecue car that's won grand championship twice in the Canadian barbecue cook-offs. And the car works really well. We've had it at the beach. We try to take it around to events whenever we can, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. And we're taking it out to the East Coast this year. We're going to take it to Halifax for a wedding. And we're going to take it to Gary's 50th anniversary. And we're going to see if we can't share some great food with everybody while we're out there, break some bread.
That's going to be so cool. Now, will you be on the tools, so to speak, with the barbecue car?
Yeah, we're definitely going to chef and pitmaster that for them. And we're just going to take the car out there and cook up the food, and they're going to serve it up to the great fans and folks out there.
Oh, man. I hope I can hook up with you out there at some point, if not back here in the province of Ontario. I plan on I got to see the barbecue car, and I definitely want to see you back behind the wheel of any race car, but to see you back behind the wheel of the number 3, that's kind of cool. You're going to be the number 3 here in Ontario, and did you get the same number out east?
Yeah, we're going to be the number 3 in both the Heart of a Champion Series and the Oscar Hot Rods. We're pretty proud of that, and we're proud to go out in Ontario, maybe be one of the first cars to represent us in the Hot Rod Series and learn what it's all about.
Man, it's going to be so cool. Have you sort of, watched YouTube to get a feel for the cars you may be racing against out there? Or will you get any time to maybe zip out and catch a race before you go out and race?
Now we're just going to jump right into the deep end, and I've watched a few of their YouTube races, and there's a wide variety of open wheel, classic stuff. Some of their cars are vintage, and there's a variety of different cars that are going to be out there. And they have some different rules. They're a little less aggressive, but they look like they're having a lot of fun regardless. And we can't wait to get out there and share the fun with them.
Does it matter what tire you run, Doug? I know, at least I think I know, here in the province of Ontario with the Oscar Hot Rod Series, are they on a spec tire? And do you got to run the same tire out there as what they do here, or do you got some changing that you have to do there?
Well, here in Ontario, we run used tires, keep the cost down. Mm-hmm. So we run a used American Racer. And they run, I believe it's Hoosiers out there, mm-hmm. but they will allow us, considering we're coming so far, to race whatever tires we can get for our
car. That's cool. They'll work with you. I know Hallahan's car is out there. You got to watch that youngster go. I've seen some tribute Junior Hanley-looking cars on the racetrack. They got some real good-looking cars, and the class is building, just like the hot rod class here in Ontario. Things are on their way up with that class out there.
Yeah, and it started the exact same year that the hot rod started here in Ontario, 2017. So it's going to be neat to see the two series and see how they've both grown. And I know the Maritime's a different area, but they also have a different group to draw from. Yeah. And the more people that do it, I think the more people you're going to see doing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. There's you can do it. Like, you can get a car put together. How long did it take you to build up the Nova that you got?
The first time we did it in 5 weeks. We threw it together in 5 weeks and took it out to Velocity. This time we've taken 3 years, and we went off, took the frame off, and put it on a diet. We updated it. We've taken the best of everything that we could find and thrown at it. We upgraded the tin kit. We've taken and given it a brand new look.
So you massage lots to it, and that's cool. That's what you want to do, and yeah.
All my sponsors actually have contributed, worked on it, put their heart and soul and love into it, and it shows in the car itself. We can't wait to go out there and show people what our supporting sponsors have done.
Yeah, and who you got on the car? Who's going to be with you for the trip?
Well, you know the story. We're actually shipping the car out there.
Oh no! Tell us.
We're taking two race cars out there, and only one fits in the trailer. So we had to go out there and actually find a transport company to ship our car out there, our race car out. So we were lucky to find a company that was willing to work with us, and we're now going to be working with a company called Vehicle Transport Canada.
Cool.
And they're our new sponsor to help get our car out there and back. And we're going to throw the barbecue car in my race car trailer, and we're going to haul out all the toys and tools with that to go out racing and barbecuing.
That's too cool, Doug. If you're just tuned into Race Time Radio, welcome aboard. We're with Douglas Fischer tonight. He drives the number 3 in the Oscar Hot Rods here in Ontario, but he's got the bucket list tour all planned for this summer. Doug isn't going to just be hanging out here in Ontario. He's going to go out all the way to the Maritimes. He's going to pick up races at Petty International Raceway. He'll be out to the island, out to Oyster Bed Speedway, see the McLeans out there. And then, of course, Scotia Speed World. And how about Riverside International Speedway to cap off the bucket list tour? He's going to have a lot of fun out there. Doug, crew-wise, are you taking the crew? Is it just you and your wife? Who you got going out there, bud?
Well, I'm hoping to hook up with some family, friends. And like I said before, I got Gary Elliott, the Ironman, working as our crew chief, and he's going to help us at all the tracks. He's with us every step of the way. And we're hoping that we get enough fan support that all we need is them cheering us on.
Now, how do fans stay up with you? How can they contact you? Is there a way they can do that? Maybe there's a company out there that wants to jump on and support you. How would they do it?
Well, we're going to try to, I guess, Facebook and YouTube our way through this little challenge. And there's lots of things to see, things that we haven't seen, like the Maritime's Motorsports Hall of Fame. There's things that we want to include that maybe we can tell people about our journey as we travel along and give them a picture memory that they'll never forget.
It's dynamite. You got to stop into that Motorsports Hall of Fame in the Maritimes. Genuinely incredible. Liz, I believe, still runs things out there. They've got a building, a place you can actually go through and see the motorsports history, if you will, of the Maritimes. Genuinely a great place. They induct, new members each and every year. And just one of those bucket list things that fans have to do. If you're a Canadian race fan, you want to make your way out there, not only for some great races, but to definitely check out the Maritime Motorsports Hall of Fame. And I want to say it's close to Petty. I don't know exactly where it is, but I think it's in the province of New Brunswick. But it's going to be something that you're going to want to catch on the way through. This is really going to be a lot of fun. I know we're going to stay up with you as much as humanly possible throughout the course of your bucket list tour. I think you may have started something here, Doug Fischer.
I like that idea. I'm hoping everybody else follows, because I'm following the footsteps of Biederman and Don Hahn and some of the greats that really make the sport what it is today.
Yeah, and you can do it. You can do it. How results-wise, how's it been with the 3 cars since you got in? Have you got any checkered flags yet?
Yeah, we got a heat win, I think, over Kawartha our first time out there, and we put ourselves on the podium a couple times. We're still searching for a feature win. I'd like to get a surfboard at the beach. It's on my bucket list, too.
Well, you never know. This could be the summer, bud. If not, though, just because this is the bucket list tour doesn't mean that that's it, right? You're not going to be done racing at the end of this year, right?
I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for us. This is, again, we're getting a little old. We're 25 years in. We're wondering how many more years, and we're going to just take a few things off the list before we're done.
Gary Elliott. Look at him. Look at him. You're a pup compared to Gary, and he's still ticking the guy.
I've hit the wall up harder a couple times, I think.
I don't know. Gary in his day is, he's met the concrete a few times, but hopefully neither one of you do that in 2023. It'd be kind of cool if you could pick up a victory here in Ontario before you go out there and scare the pants out of all of them coming in as a feature winner. What do you think?
I'd love that. In fact, I just want to go out there and have some fun with my Oscar friends. I miss them. I miss the sport, and I miss the great people that run Oscar. I'm looking forward to the fans the most. They're the ones that cheer us on, and they're the reason we go out. That's why we do this. I'm hoping to make some new fans over out there in the East Coast. You never know, maybe some more followers.
I guarantee you're gonna. And Doug, just so you know, you're gonna fit like a glove out there. All of those guys, all of the race fans, the tracks, just something to be proud of here in this country. What they got going on out there is just simply amazing. And I know you're going to be proud to be part of it. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be kind of cool, not only to see you here in the province, out there as well. Hey, you're going to have to do bucket list tour number 2. You know that. And now you're going to head off to Saskatoon, BC, Edmonton. There are a lot of good racetracks in Western Canada, too, that would probably really love seeing you out there.
Maybe this will start their classic car series out there, and that will have to be the next thing we do on our bucket list. Maybe like Gary at the 50th.
Yeah.
Tell my wife that.
Yeah. You don't want to get shot on the way there, right? Yeah. That'd be something else. Toronto Sun. Have you been in touch with the Toronto Sun? They were with you in year number 1. Maybe they can come back with you in year number 25.
Things have changed a bit, and the Sunshine Girl's no longer on page 3.
Yeah.
So now that the society's not quite what it was one time, and that's not the direction we're going to go. We're going to try to keep up to date and just go out and have some fun. We're not really looking for some sponsors. We're just looking to have some fun.
Well, and that you're going to. I can guarantee you that. Our next guest, Greg MacPherson, Inside Track, you can count on them guys. They'll be running some features on you as you go out there, because I don't know of too many guys that have made the trip east or west, and hopefully at some point we're going to be able to change that. I put a post the other day, Doug, on my Twitter feed and Facebook, for that fact, and I want to say I've counted up, it's either 7 or 8 races that pay over $10,000 for late models. You know, we got some dynamite races right here in the country, and a lot of guys will, race in their local area, and then, put a bankroll together and say, hey, we're going to go south, and we're going to run this race or that race. They have no idea, really, of what is actually taking place in this own country where their dollar is at par. I guess I got to do a better job at spreading the word and get these guys geared up so that they can maybe make it to some of these tracks across Canada. Doing what you're doing, Doug, is going to go a long way to spreading that news.
Well, I just like being a part of it, and I'm hoping we can open some doors, and maybe something that down the future, both series have a race off it. We have one here for the Maritimes, and they have one there for Ontario.
Wouldn't that be cool? Dare to dream, right? You said it earlier when you and I were talking. Dare to dream, and that's what you've done. It's hopefully all your dreams come true, my friend. And the winner at the end of this is definitely going to be the race fans. When you show up, I know they're going to get a show, and they're about to get a show.
I thank you. I really appreciate you having us on here, and I appreciate the fan support that's got us where we are today. It's really been something. It's been a heck of a ride.
Douglas is just getting started. Can't wait. Fans can check you out. Facebook, Twitter. Are you on Twitter, Instagram, and all that?
No, I did a little bit of Facebook. I'm not up on the social venues. I just climb in a race car.
Just get in and drive, right?
That's me.
You betcha, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, and I know we'll be back in touch before you head out there to the East Coast, and then probably afterwards. We'll get you back on here.
We look forward to seeing you out there, maybe. That'd be really nice, too.
Ooh, wouldn't it be? Yeah, fingers crossed. You never know. That's Douglas Fischer. Watch for him in the number 3 in the Oscar hot rod division. And then, of course, as mentioned, he's going all the way out to Canada's East Coast, going to pick up a race in PEI, another one in New Brunswick. He'll be heading off to Scotia Speed World. Love that 3-wide racetrack. And then the creme de la creme, he'll be at Riverside International Speedway and flying around the high banks under the lights at Riverside. Going to go out there and see Joan and Donald and everybody out at Riverside. Truly going to be amazing. He's going to get in with a bunch of good cars. Oh, those guys got to know that Douglas Fischer is one that you can race against. You don't have to worry about him. He ain't going to wreck you, but you can bet your butt he's going to try and pass you. It's going to be excellent. We're going to step out, take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk Motorama. We're going to do that with Greg MacPherson next from Inside Track Motorsport News. We'll do it in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us, everybody. We will be back.
Hey Canada, this is Michelle Wallace at Edmonton International Raceway, and you're listening to Racetime Radio.
From coast to coast, you're listening to Canada Talks.
Racetime Radio is brought to you by RPM Race Parts. Order today, race tomorrow. Also by VP Race Fuels, the worldwide leader in race fuel technology. And by Dawson Dental Centers. Get your victory lane smile at dawsondental.ca. It's Canada's kickoff to 2023 at Penticton Speedway. Join us May 5th and 6th.
If you build it, they will come. The Seibert family, they're doing a great job.
It's the second annual Western Rattler 300 at Penticton Speedway, featuring Canada's top pro late models and street stocks.
Got the car on the scales right now. We're really looking forward to it.
For tickets, get to PentictonSpeedway.com. And join us live on Racetime Radio worldwide for live flag-to-flag coverage.
Riley Seibert, the winners
of the Western Rattler 300, with competitors from across Canada and the U.S.
Now, this is my house. You're not coming here to push me around. And this is probably the biggest win of my career, so this is just one of the best nights of my life. This is awesome.
All at Penticton Speedway for the second annual Western Rattler 300.
Oh, man. Well, I'm really excited about this race. This is huge for Western Canadian racing.
When you think NASCAR, think SiriusXM NASCAR Radio.
This may be the most important thing that's ever happened.
You're damn right, baby.
The races.
The Daytona 500 win.
I love that we have playoff racing now.
The talk shows.
We'd love for you guys to participate as well.
The unprecedented access.
Well, I'm here at the red carpet with the fans.
SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Chastain did a video game move.
Also streaming on the SXM app.
I think they're happy down here.
Even though Napa is a nationally known name, nearly all of our stores are built from the ground up by local owners and families. People you might call neighbors will be here, there, and everywhere, doing what neighbors do to keep their communities moving forward. You stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, you can count on Napa know-how.
Tonight's Racetime Radio is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts Stores, New Glasgow, Antigonish, and Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia. You can count on Napa know-how. VP Race Fuels, the worldwide leader in race fuel technology.
Nothing connects like country music. Country music. Dig in to SiriusXM's Country Universe. The next generation on the highway, Channel 56.
I need something you.
This millennium's hits on Y2 Country, Channel 61. Or 80s and 90s prime country on Channel 58.
Play me something out.
Tap into these and more in the country category on the SXM app, included with all trials and popular plans.
A Canadian that made an indelible mark across the world, Alex Trebek is best known as the host of Jeopardy, a show he hosted over 6,300 times since his debut in 1984. Alex won 5 Emmy Awards over that stretch and is still perhaps the most popular game show host of all time. His work with charities such as World Vision was tireless, and his foundation continues to benefit children across the globe. Alex Trebek, 2006 inductee on Canada's Walk of Fame.
taking you all the way to the track and back. It's Race Time Radio.
And welcome back, everybody. All live tonight on SiriusXM, Channel 167, Canada Talks. Hello to all our RevTV viewers out there, and maybe the odd person tuned in on our YouTube channel at RaceTimeRadioTV. Or maybe the Performance Motorsport Network.com throughout the course of the week that airs Racetime Radio a bunch. Welcome to all of you. Let's get back to the Zoom line, shall we? And let's welcome in a good friend to Racetime Radio. This guy has been burning the candle at both ends, getting all things ready to go for Canada's ultimate classic car show and a race show. He's going to be all set and ready to accept all of us at Motorama. It happens at the International Center next weekend, so you don't want to miss it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 days, going to be huge, and COVID's gone. Well, at least gone, so to speak. It's not going to be a problem. You're going to want to get out to this car show. It's been a couple of years that we've been all dying and itching to get out there. This is the year we're all going to do it. Let's welcome in Greg MacPherson from Inside Track Motorsport News and Motorama. What's going on tonight there, handsome? How are you?
Hey, just working, and so glad to talk to you. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Looks like you've been busy boy, getting things lined up for the car show.
It's been crazy. Yeah, very, very busy. We're kind of talking like we don't remember it being like this, but it's going really well. The place is filled, and now it's down to promotion and the last little details and some things, but it's feeling really good. Like you said. All that stuff from the last couple of years seems like rearview mirror right now. It's exciting.
It is. Really exciting. And Greg, just having a look at the site, it changes by the minute. So get to Motorama.com and you can check it out. But as things progress and we get closer to what is going to be show date on Friday, looks like you got a lot coming down here. I see Bad Brad is all lined up. Is he going to do a roof chop right there at the show?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to go to the website to see all the stuff going on, MotoRamaShow.com. But yeah, Bad Chad and his wife Jolene from Nova Scotia, I know you've got your soft spot for down there. They're coming by way of Australia, actually. They're down at a car show down there. And I think it's Wednesday. They're Thursday. They're flying in here and coming right to the show. So yeah, over the course of the 3 days, in addition to doing autographs and meeting everybody and signing stuff, they're going to do a roof chop with some members of a car club. A fella donated it. He's got a 34 Plymouth and wants to mix it up a little bit, and so they're all going to chop it at the show and drive out.
Isn't that wild that can be done? True professionals. And to see some of the stuff that Brad has put together over the years is just mind-blowing. The guy's an artist.
Yeah, Chad, he's very creative, and he gets huge traffic on his Facebook, or on, like when they do the feed on YouTube. And like even us, when we post stuff about him, he's got a huge following. He's unique. It's like warts and all. He'll try something and like, oh, that didn't work, and let me try this way. We'll go at it again. So I think he got away from the regular TV show because he just wanted to be honest and say, here's what we're trying. It's not all Hollywood ending. But tune in tomorrow night and see if we get it right. So yeah, they were so nice. They came last year, so we were able, to put on a show last April at the end of the month. But it was tough because it was sort of stepped on racing season, the start of it for a lot of the tracks and series around here,
right,
which was tough. But we didn't have a lot of choice because we had to get off of the the passports, the COVID passports, and checking stuff at the door, and all the masking and stuff. That would have just made it so onerous we couldn't have done it. So we had to move back, and it was kind of tough with the racing season. But it's been great now. Like everyone's come back, it really feels like, I don't know, 2019 or even better. It's great.
Yeah, coming on in full force, and that's really. Hey, we're all car guys. We absolutely love it, and whenever you can get the world's best custom cars and race cars in the same building, you're going to attract a ton of people, and that's precisely what's going to happen next weekend at the International Center. What else you got? I called him Brad. I meant Chad, but I did call him Brad. Bad Chad. Who else we got coming up for showstoppers?
So one of the neat ones, and he's probably the biggest name in the industry right now because of his TV show, but Dave Kindig from Bitch and Ride. So if anyone's ever watched that, he has, in Utah, there, Kindig Designs. If you ever have the opportunity to go to SEMA, his cars are fantastic. They win tons of awards, so really exciting. So he hasn't been to our show before, but everyone I've spoken with about him, he's just a gentleman, friendly guy, like all our guests have been over the years. But no, it's exciting. He's coming both 2 days, so he's Saturday and Sunday only. So everyone will get a chance to meet him. Hopefully, he'll be doing autographs, signing stuff, taking pictures, and he'll be on the stage a bit so that everyone can meet him regardless of waiting in an autograph line or not.
No,
so that's,
it's such a historic show, Greg. I think back to the years and years that I was coming to Performance World, is now Motorama today. But I think back to it. Barris was there. George Barris, met him. Roots, there was a guy just outside of Guelph. Don Root was his name, and he painted so many custom cars. Whenever you see that painted by Root sign on a car, it was going to probably win the show each and every year. I can remember, sitting there talking with Paul Tracy, and Matt Kenseth was there. And, just over the years, there has been so much built up around Motorama. And you guys are continuing the history of this. It's just amazing to see from a racer perspective. That's what we talk about lots on here, primarily about racing. What do you got coming up for the Racer Corral? What sort of centers it all?
Okay. Well, stepping back 1/2 second, like when you're talking about the history of the show, we weren't allowed to do the show in 21. So in lieu of that, we did a huge section in Inside Track talking about the history of the show, because Dizzy Dean had started it in 1975, and it was legendary, the motion show. So at a tough time for all of us, we did a huge section on it, so I got to learn about all the history of the show going back to 75 and Dizzy, and for long, this will be our 8th year doing the Motorama show. And one of the neatest things has been getting to know and hang with a gentleman named Gary Chalice. Gary did the show and picked the cars way back to like Performance World, like glory days with Larry King when he put on the show. You booked your Sauble booth through Larry, and so Gary's just been amazing to work with. Everyone loves him, and he's the nicest man in the world. And so it's been fun and learning the history of the show. So I guess we've almost, if we count ourselves included over the years, next year I guess we'll be doing like a 50th anniversary tribute to this great show that's been running. So, but getting to your question, we love racing. That's our heart. We've been doing, I've known you since I guess probably 1990. When I first started when I finished at U of T, and we love the racing, and we're so proud that racing's a big part of Motorama. It's awesome. The tracks come, the guys, I think it's like 80 cars are coming, like in the Racers Corral. Immaculate. Guys have worked on them all winter. They're beautiful before they take to the track, and they lose their minds and start rubbing. So that's going to be really neat. We've got a stage in that area now with some microphones, and people take to the stage. If you're there, obviously we talked to you, you're welcome to want to slot you in, and chat with some people, and
much appreciated.
But and then talking about the old days at the show, so it's like birthday time for a couple of guys. I know the Hooters girls always end up in John Caselli's booth, Flamborough Speedway.
Right.
But yours is around that time too, right?
It is actually March 9th. Kim Wallace and Steve Slaughter got me many years, I'll tell you, at that very show. My birthday was always show weekend, or really relatively close. I always had to keep one eye over my shoulder, because you never knew what those two monkeys were up to.
I have pictures, and I think it was Al Blight, and Rick Hammond, and Tony Novotny, those fun times. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Just amazing. And you better count yourself into the history of this show, because you guys are the ones continuing the tradition, and very, very good job of doing it, too. It's not like it's a step back. You guys have done everything and stepped up as it's been progressing. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's an honor, and it's a ton of work. And we're all like everybody else coming out of COVID and a couple tough years, but it's feeling great again, and it feels like it's ramping up and going the right way. the April show last year, we were about 70% in terms of, people coming, and thank goodness we were able to even do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's back now. Like it's really feeling good, and we're so excited. All the work that we've all done, no weekends for the longest time. Weekends are your opportunity when the emails and the phones ring. They stop ringing. So
you will sleep a week Monday. That's when you'll sleep.
We're all like that, yeah. Monday the 13th. But you know what though? It's funny with the magazine, because with Inside Track, during this period we kind of push it to the side of the desk a little bit, and it's all sitting here and calling our names. So yeah, it won't be much of a break, and then it's all in diving into Inside Track and getting ready for another great summer of that too.
Well, yeah, the content that you're going to be able to come out of the show with is second to none, because the who's who are really going to be at Motorama when it comes time for short track. Doesn't matter whether it's dirt, asphalt, what it is. You have a night of champions where you get all the champions that can make it to the show up. Is that going to happen again on Saturday, I would take it?
Absolutely, yeah. We call it the Fast Eddie Night of Champions. They're great supporters of the show. And we expanded it last year, and we're sticking with it. We added in the road racing champions.
Oh, nice.
So they're back. So I think we start about 3 o'clock on the main stage there in Hall 2. And, about 20 road racing champions from last year. I think we're like 40 drag racing guys. They're up next. And then the short track, the stock car guys, like you say, dirt and asphalt are next. I think it's like 65 of those registered. So we came up with it like back in the old CME days, and it really got traction. Like everyone goes to banquets, and you go to there and you've got 4 classes and it's fun, but and you see the champions, but like to be in a place where there are like 130 people who won championships last year, right from like a junior dragster at a local drag strip to J.R. Fitzpatrick, who APC championed last year. It's the whole range, and they all get introduced, and there's thousands of people there cheering them on and applauding them for what they accomplished last year. It's really cool.
I know Joe Juniors with 2-Speed now. They've got some stuff they're going to unveil at the show. They've been keeping top secret, and everything will get revealed at the show. We've seen it with the NASCAR Pinty series, where they've got stuff undercover, and they won't show it until a specific time at the show. Do we have much of that happening this year with the NASCAR Pinty series and other divisions that are going to be there?
It has been fun with, like you say, like Joe Jr. and what they've been teasing. We love that. Like we go to PRI and people make announcements, and then and backing up just a touch, like when you said seeing everybody, that's the coolest thing. Like we go down to like say the PRI show in December in Indianapolis, and we always laugh, say, oh, we drive 8 hours to see Canadians because everyone in Canadian racing's there. But our show is really feeling like that. You just walk around, everybody who's in Canadian racing is in that room and hanging out or on the stage and the Night of Champions. So it's totally cool. So I think the stage should be busy with people making some announcements about what they've got going on. They haven't. A lot of them are people make their own plans, like with what they've got going. So I don't know if I know about all of it.
Right.
But we'd certainly help promote it as soon as we do know. But the APC series, Quick Wick and Oscar, they're coming in a big way, which is really neat. I'm just looking at some of the other series. I'll just look off to the side, read a little touch. But
sure.
Like road racing, Bark, Canada Heads Up Drag Racing Series, CASCOR, like Cascork, Canadian Modifieds, Flamborough, Full Throttle, Great Lakes Legends, Oshweekend, Ontario Sportsman, Peterborough Speedway, Sauble, Southern Ontario Modified Association, Sunset, Toronto Motorsport Park, and like I said, all the United Racing Series bunch. So
yeah,
exciting. Yeah, it's just like everyone's come out. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And to see some of the new paint schemes and to see, some of the differences that are going to be laid out. Greg, I can't help but think one day, and I can't believe it hasn't happened so far, but you always got to keep an eye on the future. But this is really Canada's show. And there's no reason why we can't, attract the guys from the East and from the West. And we run through the same thing at the racetrack level. Put a post out the other day. There's, 7 or 8, 9 races that pay over $10,000 or $10,000 to win. That's huge money. And I think it's just, it's a byproduct of what I do, and I haven't done a good enough job to reinforce to those race teams that this is here to have and to hold and to go do. And I think that there is a huge market. I can't help but think that one year at Motorama, right off to just the left of our booth, there was a guy set up there from Edmonton that was selling trading cards and stuff. And I was shocked to find out he was from Edmonton. And I went, right on. Finally, the word is spreading and getting it out there. But maybe, Greg, one year we can depend on, everything from RS1 Cup Series racing on Canada's West Coast to, the guys out in Newfoundland to come in. I know it's expensive. I know it's big. But if it is an international show, there's no reason why fans can't make it a destination just as much as a race, right?
No, absolutely, and we love that. Like anything you can do, we appreciate you helping spread the word. We get little hints of that, people, coming up on, like, say, social media, chatting with us and saying, what time is somebody there? I want to come. We had a lady. She wants, her husband loves Bad Chad. They watch YouTube every night and see him on, and it's his 50th birthday, so they're coming from Portland, Oregon, to come see Bad Chad. So yeah, I guess we should get into that mindset a little more. Everyone's welcome, whether it's Night of Champions or racetracks. Everybody's welcome to participate. We love them. Like, more the merrier. We aspire to that. But yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool to see the champions from across Canada show up one year? What do you say we sort of set it on the calendar? Let's call it 2025. 2025 is going to be Motorama Canada show, and we want all the champions to ascend on that weekend at Motorama. And you never know, Greg, with that many champions in the room, you may have to make it a full day thing.
Anyway, it'd be a very nice problem to have. We would gladly accommodate everyone, but it truly, with the Night of Champions thing, it truly is a unique thing. We haven't heard of it anywhere else in the world.
No,
anything like that, having so many together. Like, it's so neat, and people are so happy. Like, they sign up. It means so much to them. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been emulated, but I guess we'll see. But we love it. The response is amazing, and we're honored that people make the effort to come to the show and be part of it.
Is it too late to get a car in the display now, or are things pretty well sold out and we've got
almost
a
set? We've got we call it the Racers Corral in terms of the racing people, but excuse me, we do have cancellations, so I don't think I've got anyone on the waiting list right now. And there's always some things happen where we just had somebody where they planned to get a wrap, and then the guy didn't come through, and then the car's not wrapped, and so he canceled. So, if you go to MotoRamaShow.com, up near the top, it's still there. It says register a vehicle. If you want to try and get something in last minute, put that in. We can't make a promise, but I would bet we'd have a spot or two free up beforehand.
Isn't that cool? Now, let's talk about the fans that are going to come through. Joe Public, if you will. What time does the show open on Friday? What time does everything take place? And if you were a fan, which you know you are, but if you weren't the promoter of it, what day would you select to go through the show?
I don't know. Like, if you just wanted to have the place done to yourself, but like Friday, because like it starts at 10 a.m. every day. All 3 days starts at 10 a.m. So, say probably Friday if you wanted to just come and not, have a big crowd. We're hoping it's solid. We're doing everything we can to be busy all 3 days.
Right.
But, Saturday with, say, Kindig being there and Bad Chad and being there Sunday as well, like, we're really expecting stuff to be hopping. Like, there were some pretty good omens. Like, we followed the attendance at some of the shows that have been down around here, including the Canadian International Auto Show, and they had great crowds. So it's just people are ready to go, get back to the things they like and come out in numbers. So it should be busy. But the show's got several zones as you walk in. Everybody comes and goes from Hall 1. So when you come in, we call it the Grand Hall. It's 28 just unbelievable custom cars for the most part. First time shown in Canada indoors. And they just a labor of love. Like, people spare no expense building these things, and they show them off. So when you walk in, it's 28 of those cars right down the middle. People build them, hoping that they'll get a spot in Hall 1. at Motorama show, which flatters us. You can't believe it, but once they've got it the way they want it and they want to unveil it, a lot of people want to do it at our show, which is an honor. And then right after that, you go into the racing zone with all the tracks and series. This year, it is 100% racing content in there. Sometimes we've had like a little room and we'll put a car club in there, whatever, but it is jammed with race tracks, series, vendors, vehicles. It's never been busier in there. The next room you go into is Hall 2 with the big high ceiling, the big room.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the corporate displays are in there, like Lincoln Electric. They're sponsoring Bad Chad, and they got a big booth, but they're also sponsoring the roof chop. Also, another thing to look for at the show, speaking of Lincoln Electric, we've got a thing called the Canadian 10, which is it's kind of like an homage to what they do at Detroit, Autorama, which is a great show. It just happened last weekend. Mm-hmm. But down there they call it the Grade 8. So what they'll do is they put up flags of the best cars in the show, 8 cars.
Yep.
And you walk around and you can see one of them's going to win the Riddler Award down there. And but you get to scout them out and decide who you think should win as you're touring the show. So we do the same thing. So it's called the Lincoln Electric Canadian 10. And so those flags will be up. Probably most of those cars are going to be in Hall 1. Mm-hmm. But they can be throughout. We've had them in like the racing area or Hall 2 or back in the Mayhem Rockabilly room. So just keep an eye out for those, and then you decide who should get the big check and win the grand champion prize on Sunday afternoon on the stage. But and otherwise in that room, gosh, we got 2 huge competition monster trucks,
mm-hmm.
A jet truck, this thing crazy, like 300-mile-an-hour jet truck. I think it's 24 car clubs, tons of feature displays. Anyway, it's busy.
That's awesome. I think back to the Riddler when you mentioned the Riddler Award. J.F. Lanier, that is on the Russ Brothers that we see on the History Channel. J.F. one year had built an Acadian. It was just an amazing car. And they went down there. He was one of the 8 finalists. Didn't win the Riddler for that car. I believe he did win a Riddler for one of his creations.
Yeah,
but
it was like a
just
yellowish,
amazing.
Orangey
That's
Buick.
right. Yeah, Riviera.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, just amazing. Yeah. We've had him on Racetime Radio before, and he, of course, into racing as well. We'll catch up with JF again one of these nights. But
and he won the grand champion at our show. I think it might have been 2019 with that Acadian, and it came from Detroit. It was in the neighborhood, so they brought it up. Excuse me.
Yep.
And a gorgeous car. And he won the grand champion the year he was here with that.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I wonder how many Count's custom cars we're actually going to see in the show, if there's any of those, and I wonder if we're going to see any Rust Valley cars.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard that this year. Those guys are always welcome, and we'd love for JF to bring some of his creations again.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool? Well, we'll just have to go through the show, Greg, and we'll have to take a look at each and every one of them, as well as, of course, the big racing under the big top. It's going to be just amazing. Good job once again. Is there a family ticket, Greg? Is there a good day if you've got, the wife and the kids? Is there? You probably got deals for kids coming in too, right?
Yeah, sure. If you go to motoramashow.com, right on the side there, one of the things on the top right widget on the website, it's times, the address, prices. So, yes, absolutely. Great deals for kids. There's a family pass, and then seniors passes, that type of thing.
Well, good luck with the show. I know I'm going to see you down there, bud. Look forward to it. Look forward to seeing all of our racing family down there. And be ready, man. Thursday night will be load in. That's always a fun day.
It will be. It'll be great. And so, and then we'll see you the day after, and we'll give you a one-day late birthday hug.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Take it easy, brother, and we'll see you at Motorama.
Thank you so much, Joe.
You bet. That's Greg McPherson. Always a great guy to have on Racetime Radio. Enjoy Greg coming on, whether we're talking inside track motorsport news and what's happening in the racing world or leading up to the show like we are. You don't want to miss it this coming weekend at Motorama. It is the International Center in Toronto. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 9th or 10th, 11th, and 12th. I do believe it is the weekend. Next weekend, you want to be at that show. We're going to take a quick break here on Racetime Radio, and we'll be back. Hour 2 is coming up. Stay with us.
Hi, race fans. This is Dave Dykstra, sprint driver of the 5D Corpac Oswego Sprint, and you're listening to Racetime Radio.
From coast to coast, you're listening to Canada Talks.
Tonight's Racetime Radio is brought to you by Leaf Racewear. Fuel your passion and confidence at leafracewear.com. We're an essential part of any team. And by Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Canada's biggest sports car racing weekends of the year. For tickets and details, get to CanadianTireMotorsportPark.com. It's time to get back to the racetracks. For over 30 years, Quick Fire Starters have fueled the sport on and off the track, making lighting your campfire as easy as 1, 2, 3. There's no need for kindling or paper. Just pop your Quick Fire Starter in the pit, add your wood, and presto, you're a pro. Quick Fire Starters. No harmful chemicals, and guaranteed to light your fire every time. Quick Fire Starters, the world's best fire starter. It's Canada's kickoff to 2023 at Penticton Speedway. Join us May 5th and 6th.
If you build it, they will come. The Seibert family, they're doing a great job.
It's the second annual Western Rattler 300 at Penticton Speedway, featuring Canada's top pro late models and street stocks.
Got the car on the scales right now. We're really looking forward to it.
For tickets, get to PentictonSpeedway.com. And join us live on Racetime Radio worldwide for live flag-to-flag coverage.
Riley Seibert, the winner
of the Western Rattler 300, with competitors from across Canada and the U.S.
Now, this is my house. You're not coming here to push me around. And this is probably the biggest win of my career. So this is just one of the best nights of my life. This is awesome.
All at Penticton Speedway for the second annual Western Rattler 300.
Oh, man. Well, I'm really excited about this race. This is huge for Western Canadian racing.
Hey, everyone. This is World Series champions Lance McCullers Jr. and Carlos Correa. We're excited to announce that our podcast, The Walkout, is now available on SiriusXM.
Each episode, we go inside the world of combat sports, providing hardcore analysis, honest opinions, and top picks for every fight.
If you share the same passion for combat sports as we do, you need to listen to The Walkout.
Episodes are available on the SiriusXM app, Pandora, and wherever you get your podcasts.
RevTV, your motorsports and automotive destination. Watch live races from around the world and right here at home, from 2 wheels to 4 and so much more. RevTV is your source for motorsports. RevTV features exclusive race series, up-to-date news coverage, documentaries, how-to programs, and adrenaline-filled lifestyle programs 24/7. Go green with RevTV. Contact your TV provider to order.
Tonight's Racetime Radio is fueled by AP Race Fuels, the worldwide leader in race fuel technology.
If you're a Springsteen fan, you just found the promised land. Hear rare interviews and performances. Live concerts.
Is there anybody alive out there?
Celebrity guest DJs.
This is Rob Lowe. Hey, baby, it's Little Steven here.
And more exclusives when listening to Bruce Springsteen's channel.
Welcome, Bruce Springsteen, to E Street Radio, your home away from home. Great to be here.
E Street Radio, SiriusXM Channel 20.
Explore the musical world of an American rock and roll troubadour on his very own channel.
Tom Petty Radio.
All of Tom's music, influences, collaborations.
This is Tom Petty here on The Buried Treasure Show.
Heartbreakers hosted shows.
Check out my show, The Breakdown with Mike Campbell.
And more.
It's Tom Petty Radio.
Channel 31.
It's all right.
And in the SXM app, included with all trials and popular plans.
Did you know you can get home and away feeds for every NFL, NBA, and NHL game on your phone?
I can't believe it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SXM app. Sports the way they're meant to be heard, with your hometown announcers just a tap away. Search for your team, then tap the star on the corner of the screen and save it as your favorite.
It is gone! An incredible finish!
And if you love college sports, when the game is on, just search for your school. It's always a home game when you listen to sports on the SXM app. Free for most subscribers.
We're just getting started. That's right. Joe hasn't stuck his foot in his mouth yet. But hang tight, it's coming. Now, back to more Racetime Radio and Joe Chisholm.
And welcome back, everybody, to Race Time Radio. So glad you could tune in tonight live on SiriusXM Channel 167 Canada Talks. Hello to all our RevTV viewers. I hope you're enjoying the show. Oh, I might add, too, it's a good idea if you've got an idea for a special interest story. You might have a friend that's doing really good in racing, or you want to talk, want us to interview somebody or get them on the air. You can do that right across Canada. I'll tell you a true story. After last week's show, my phone lit up. I told everybody, if you got an idea, don't hesitate. Give me a shout. You can email me anytime. My email address is joe@racetimeradio.com. Nice and easy. Joe, what time is it? It's race time. joe@racetimeradio.com. And let me know. Tell me about it. And I can see what I can do about lining up a guest. Well, I had a viewer last week that really loved enjoying Racetime Radio on RevTV Canada. Reached in from all the way out on Canada's East Coast, said, hey, have you ever heard the name Logan Power? And I'm trying to think, I think I know that name, Logan Power. I think I had Logan on the show at one point. It was a couple of years ago. So we've had a lot of guests on Racetime Radio, to say the least. And he said, I'd really like to hear from Logan Power. I'm a race fan on the East Coast of Canada. And Logan Power, he's a real cool dude. He's done a really good job. The guy listed all the wins that Logan has had. And must be a super fan. I reached out to Logan. We got him coming up next week on the show. So you want to meet Logan Power from the East Coast? Drives the street stock. He's going to join us live on Racetime Radio next week. So we got that to look forward to. But there's lots of those Logan Power across Canada. And we do our best to reach out and get you all those special interest stories. But let's face it, it's a big old country. And there's just me, Joe Jr., and Susie Q here in the Racetime Radio studio. So every now and then, things slide by and we miss it. We could sure use your help in pulling everything together. But what do you say we welcome our next guest to Racetime Radio? This gentleman is the man in charge of what is a new tour here in Canada, relatively new, with the Sportsman Series. It's called Mass. It is the Maritime All-Star Series out in Canada's East Coast. And Craig McFetridge and his wife take care of this whole deal out there. They're doing a whale of a job, and they're looking at a huge season and additions to the Sportsman Series. They're adding in the street stocks. We got a lot to talk about tonight. And on the Zoom line, we got him. We have Craig McFetridge with us. What's going on there, Craiger? How you doing? You're looking great, buddy.
Hey, thanks a lot, Joe. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. You have not only done a dynamite job putting this series together for the Sportsman cars, but you've managed to not only have the series, but you're growing it and expanding out. You've done a great job. How has it been? I know you're not brand new to the industry. You come to us from Petty International Raceway back in the day, but now you're into a different role. How do you like being a promoter of the Sportsman Series?
Well, I really enjoy it, Joe. It's something that's, I guess, would be a lot simpler than running a whole racetrack, if you will. It was just something that, I had a break from racing when I sold the track to Wayne and Ellen Smith, and decided that I wanted to get back involved, and had a couple opportunities with the old Napa series from Riverside, and kind of got a nudge in the shoulder from Joan Rui, the track manager down there. So here we are, heading into our second year.
Yeah, dynamite job. I know last year, at this time last year, we had you on the radio show part of it, and the excitement was definitely there. Didn't know what to anticipate with everything being sort of fresh and brand new. But, man, you had a good following. The guys have latched on to this. The fans have latched on. And when I take a look at the schedule, I don't think there's a track in Eastern Canada that you're not going to, other than maybe the Rock, which you'd have to get on a boat and go for a 16-hour drive across the ocean to get to. You've got the Maritimes pretty well covered.
Yeah, we, like I said, it was something that was going to start in Nova Scotia and stay pretty close to Riverside. And then with the encouragement like I said, of the Riverside management, we decided to make a bit of a tour with it, and it was so well received that we grew it a little bit this year. You know, we added a second New Brunswick date at Petty International, so we're up to 8 races on that, and like you said, we took on the street stock at Riverside this year, and that was something that really had been in the works for, geez, I want to say almost as long as the Sportsman series was, but it was always going to be obviously a much smaller thing than the Sportsman. It was going to kind of run 1A, 1B with the Sportsman series. So that's kind of how that all come together.
Well, and much needed, right? I think of Riverside been there for this is going to be our 12th season out there doing the IWK 250. But, you know, I've never seen a street stock go around Riverside International Speedway. And you see them at every other racetrack you go to. I just never seen them at Riverside. And when I seen the announcement this year, just a couple of weeks ago, I went, right on, Craig McFetridge. You go, man. That's going to be so cool to see the street stocks out there on that racetrack. And they got to be coming off the chip to have the opportunity to get out on that speedway.
You know what? I must get at least 2 or 3 messages a day from racers, you know, wondering, you know, how it's all going to go down, how many laps they're going to get, and are they going to be the main event, and everything. There's just so much excitement there. There's like 36 guys registered so far, and there's probably another 8 to 10 talking back and forth. Now guys are worried that they might not be able to get in the show when they go to Riverside. So we're going to have a plan in place with the track management at Riverside to make sure that everybody gets lots of racing in there in June 10th, in conjunction with our Maritime All-Star Series Sportsman race and the Maritime Pro Stock Tour. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. Street stocks haven't been back to Riverside since Mr. Chisholm took it back over and rebuilt it back in 2006. So there's guys just chomping at the bit. Matter of fact, there was a gentleman that contacted me. He hasn't even registered yet, but he dug his car out that last race, in the last race, at Riverside before the rebuild. So He's looking forward to getting back out on the new track. So it was a great story. I was amazed.
Yeah. Too cool. You know, when you take a look at the rule book, how has that been to sort of set out a chart of rules? I know you're working with all these different racetracks to try and make everything fit. And that can be difficult at times. How has that process been for both the Sportsman and the street stocks?
Well, the Sportsman, I think, has always been pretty close, Joe. You know, a little bit of weight here, maybe a carburetor change there, but for the most part, the Sportsman has been pretty well on par across the Maritimes. You know, as you know, enforcement is the biggest part of rules, and racers will take every advantage they can get if you're not looking at a certain area. So, but overall, the Sportsman rules are very, very good across the Maritimes. The street stock rules, well, that's a little bit tougher because it's kind of growing in Nova Scotia. You know, it kind of took off in Sydney again when they reopened Bud Speedway. But now all of a sudden there's a lot of interest here on the mainland of Nova Scotia, and people are looking to buy cars. So, you know, we're going to have to come up with a set of rules that work really well for the guys here. They just had a recent rule change for the New Brunswick tracks that kind of handcuff some guys about joining us. But we'll come up with something to make it work. The PEI cars are very on par with what we're doing here in Nova Scotia. So, yeah, we look forward to it. You know, there's not an obstacle, I guess, that you can't overcome if you really want to.
Exactly. Well said. You know, how cool is it when guys will go to a race and may not qualify to get in? Nothing will light a fire under your butt like that will. And talk about being a big-time fan perk. Nothing's worse than going to a racetrack and seeing everybody that you know is going to qualify for that race in, you know, 2 heat races, and then they put them on the racetrack, the same guys. But when you get it where the guys have to qualify to get in, that's what heat racing is all about. That's what qualifying is all about. And, yeah, there is some long faces at the end, but all that does is just reinsure that driver is going to be back next year, and he is going to come with a gun to a gunfight instead of a knife to a gunfight to try and make his way in. It's pretty prestigious to get into one of those races.
Oh, well, yes, it is. And it's, you know, it's going to be, it should be a tough go to get into this race. You know, we even got working through the what ifs if we get all these cars, you know, if all these guys show up, because I'm thinking even more could show up. And where are we going to put all these guys? Because you've been to Riverside, you know, we're going to have the Maritime Pro Stock Tour there. We're going to have the Mass Sportsman cars, and we're going to have the Mass Street Stocks. So she's going to be loaded to the gunnels. There's going to be a lot of buzz. People haven't seen Street Stocks in Andy Ganesh since, you know, I would say the very early 2000s, if not the late 90s. And yeah, like fans are talking about it, and fans are emailing me on where they can get tickets. And I have to like say, I don't sell tickets. I'm just part of the show. So I said, you know, you got to email Riverside for that stuff. So.
Yeah, well, they'll be parking them out in out by the ticket office probably, and then having them open the gate and let them in through that way. That'd be a real good problem to have, Craig McFetridge. That's going to be kind of cool. Your season gets underway, I believe, on May the 20th. You guys get fired up with the Auto World the Auto World Sportsman Series. Kind of cool that you've got it all sponsored. How are things looking that way for sponsorship? And team-wise, it looks like you got lots of guys registering and still more to come.
Yeah, you know, I find it odd that when we start our registrations in January, like we did last year, people are actually registering in early January for racing that don't start in May because they want to be part of what we're doing. And that's kind of why we're doing it. We want to create a series that people want to be part of, want to come and have fun, want to be treated fairly, and leave there having a good time, because, you know, we're asking people to spend their money that they work Monday to Friday with to get to the racetrack. And if you're going to have a miserable time, you're not going to do it for long, Joe. So
right.
The key is to treat everybody the same, treat them as good as you can, and try to do the bells and whistles that make your race special. So it's not just another Saturday night race at a local short track.
Well, you guys do a great job laying everything out. For fans that want to get more in tune with what you got going on, what's the best place to point them to? I know you guys got a website. Do you do Facebook and all the social media? How do fans sort of get a look in behind the scenes and get up to date on everything?
Yeah, so we got our website is www.maritimeallstars.ca. And I try to keep our Facebook social media side of it up to date. Which is probably one of the easiest things for me to do, because I tend to look at it a lot and follow a lot of people, follow a lot of racers. So yeah, so those are the two main ways to kind of get through to us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can well imagine, just like the pro stocks, we've seen a lot of guys over the years go through pro stock, and sometimes it looks, oh, okay, that guy's maybe done. He's fallen out of racing. Maybe he's, I don't know, going to do something else with life. And then lo and behold, we look and all of a sudden they appear in a Sportsman car because there's a new deal and there's something, you know, happening that, you know, that pro stock was just a little too much for them. But now, hey, a Sportsman car, I can go do that. And they get a chance to tour around a bit. Any big names that we are used to maybe hearing in the pro stock ranks that you're starting to see come through on the Auto World side?
Not really at this time. We don't have a lot. Like, of course, my series sponsor, Auto World, Dylan Blankhorn, is going to run some races in Jerry Hayes' car out of Sydney. You know, I think SFR was looking at maybe putting somebody in one of their cars or in their car. I'm not sure if that's going to be a young driver or maybe a veteran. They hold the cars pretty close to their chest. So, you know, we're going to get a lot of what we had last year. You know, we had very close and competitive racing. You know, sometimes, you know, we had 54 cars take part in our 7 races last year. So that was very gratifying to see that by year's end. I would have liked to seen another 4 or 5 at certain events. But, you know, full-time racing isn't for everybody anymore. A lot of people like to pick and choose and go to the races they want to go with. Not hard to draw a car count when you're supporting the IWK weekend on the Friday night. You know, we always, you know, you get those 24 to 26 guys that'll come out to that race and have a good Friday night race. Petty will draw great because, you know, they have a dozen of their own Sportsman cars up there as well that like to get involved in big shows. You know, there's a bunch of cars now in Sydney. Yarmouth, you know, has a great car count. So, you know, we hope to hit, ideally I'd like to be 22 to 24 cars each event for the Sportsman guys, just because they're traveling. We want to make sure we get them in the show. But obviously we'll take as many as we can get. But yeah, that's kind of our target, is to probably have, you know, 4 to 6 more cars following us on a full-time basis in 2023 than did in 2022.
Yeah, pretty cool last year. I remember seeing Brad Eddy pop into that 6 car, and oh man, you want to talk about an exciting individual to watch in a Sportsman race. He, along with, you know, Dylan Blankhorn, if you can get him into a race car, you know you got a show coming up. And look at all the regulars with Barkhouse, and the list goes on and on. Richards is another one. There's so many good cars that can show up to a Sportsman race. They just absolutely love it. Do you think you're going to see more competitors maybe out of Scotia Speed World this year? Or is that sort of, I know it hasn't been a big thing in the past. When you get the guys at Riverside, they do come from everywhere. But on a regular basis, do you think you're going to see more Scotia Speed World guys traveling down?
I hope so. You know, Scotia does the Friday night shows. And you know what? They got a very strong class. They're the strongest in the Maritimes when it comes to a weekly show. You know, they have 18 to 20 cars that show up on a regular basis on Friday nights. We didn't cash it on a lot of those cars last year on our Saturday show. But there was also a big tire shortage last year, and guys that run for championships, as you know, want to make sure that they can get through that season at their home track before they venture outside. So I think you're going to see, you know, more guys, you know, taking a race here or there this year than what did last, because, you know, all kind of indications are that we will have a better tire supply in 2023 than we did in 2022, and that's good to see.
Yeah, it sure is. It's much needed. We definitely needed to see that. Craig McFetridge, this is really going to be an exciting 2023. I know I look forward to catching up with you guys at Riverside, and hopefully before then, I can get you a race or so out there, and we really, really genuinely look forward to it. A lot of good things happening in the Maritimes this year on all levels at all the different speedways. You guys have really got it happening, and we got you to thank for a lot of it, too, you know, with the Sportsman and the street stock now. You and your wifey, Pooh, are going to be kind of busy this summer, buddy.
Yeah, we really only took, I say really only, you know, we only really took on one more race weekend because like I said, the street stock is going to race with the Sportsman cars on the 2 dates at Riverside. But yeah, it's going to be busy, and sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and say, you know, Craig, what are you doing? You know, you had enough on the go, because I'd really like to get the Sportsman cars to PEI next summer. Robbie's a great friend, and I'd really like to get over there with the Sportsman cars. So that's kind of on our bucket list for growth in 2024. But we want to keep this thing small, because you know what, there's other races in the Maritimes that, whether you're a Sportsman driver or a street stock driver, you want to take in, and we don't want to interfere with guys being able to do those races. So we want to keep this thing relatively small.
Yeah, and it's called a comfortable balance, right? And it's always hard to do. You got to operate right on the razor's edge, so to speak, trying to appease the race base, trying to appease the race fan. And, oh, by the way, the guys that pay the bills are the racetracks. So everybody's got to remain happy. Everybody's got to remain successful. And that's always not always easy to do. But Craig McFetridge, you've been doing a great job with it. Much continued success. And if there's absolutely anything we can do to help you along, just say the word, my friend. And I know we'll have competitors that run both ends of the series. I plan on getting winners on, so you can let those guys know they're going to get national coverage on Racetime Radio. So go out there, race your butts off, and hopefully you qualify to get in. And we will definitely hear from them right across Canada right here. And we just appreciate everything you're doing. And congratulations on making things a little better. But I'll send you a little bottle of Tylenol just to help you out.
All right. I appreciate that, Joe.
Thanks, Craig, so much for the time tonight on Race Time. You and your wife relaxed there just for a little bit. Now you got, a month and a half, and then it's going to be green time. At least practice will get underway.
Yeah, well, people will be able to see us. We're going to head to the Speed Sport in Moncton in April, so people will be able to see us there and talk a little bench racing there with as part of the Tim's Corner booth. So.
Oh, yeah. Timmy will have it well covered. You can guarantee that. I look forward to it. I'll be tuned in, bud. You have a good one. Be safe.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks again for having us on.
You betcha. That's Craig McFetridge out there on Canada's East Coast. You got to check these guys out. That Sportsman tour is off the hook. I'll tell you, it's going to be really good. And the same thing with the street stocks. How exciting would guys be to get on Riverside? For participants in Ontario, let me put it to you this way. The excitement level of race teams to get out on Jukasa, the old Cayuga Speedway, the competitor base just went absolutely nuts. They love that 5/8 mile racetrack. God, I wish it was still operating today. And fingers crossed, you never know. Maybe we can get another race there. But the fans... The competitors went nuts to get on that speedway. Well, the same thing is true on Canada's East Coast. You want the biggest, fastest? It's Riverside, and it is a beautiful speedway, and it is a fast speedway. And if you can get an opportunity to race whatever on that track, you're going to take the opportunity. And Craig and his team have got it laid out where we're going to see street stocks back on that speedway, along with the Sportsman cars. And the Pro Stock Tour, come on. It'll be the best ticket that you can get. And you want to definitely get to Riverside International Speedway and get those tickets. I believe monster truck tickets went on sale, and they're going to go fast. They've added a monster truck race, too. So there's all kinds happening. Get to RiversideInternationalSpeedway.com, CA, and check it out. We will have Joan on the show, general manager of Riverside, in just a couple of weeks to get you up to date on maybe some of the stuff that we haven't hit on, but we look forward to that. We're going to hit a quick break. When we come back, off to the west coast of Canada we go. We're going to grab Trevor Seibert. We're going to talk Penticton Speedway and the Western Rattler 300 weekend. Trevor has got some huge news. Don't know what it is, but we're going to find out together on the other side of the race. Stay with us. We will be back.
Hey, everybody, this is Ray Dunlap. Make sure you tune in to Racetime Radio to see what's going on in the trucks.
You're listening to Canada Talks on SiriusXM, Channel 167. Did you know you could get home and away feeds for every NFL, NBA, and NHL game on your phone?
I can't believe it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SXM app. Sports the way they're meant to be heard, with your hometown announcers just a tap away. Search for your team, then tap the star on the corner of the screen and save it as your favorite.
It is gone! An incredible finish!
And if you love college sports, when the game is on, just search for your school. It's always a home game when you listen to sports on the SXM app. Free for most subscribers.
It's Canada's kickoff to 2023 at Penticton Speedway. Join us May 5th and 6th.
If you build it, they will come. The Seibert family, they're doing a great job.
It's the second annual Western Rattler 300 at Penticton Speedway, featuring Canada's top pro late models and street stocks.
Got the car on the scales right now. We're really looking forward to it.
For tickets, get to PentictonSpeedway.com. And join us live on Racetime Radio worldwide for live flag-to-flag coverage.
Riley Seibert, the winner
of the Western Rattler 300, with competitors from across Canada and the U.S.
Now, this is my house. You're not coming here to push me around. And this is probably the biggest win of my career. So this is just one of the best nights of my life. This is awesome.
All at Penticton Speedway. for the second annual Western Rattler 300.
Oh, man. Well, I'm really excited about this race. This is huge for Western Canadian racing.
What is SiriusXM NASCAR Radio?
Tyler Reddy will go to victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You just won at Indy.
Down here in victory lane, let me ask the fans.
It's all.
Joey Logano will set his sights on a championship.
Two-time, baby.
Things.
He shoved him up the racetrack.
Back up on the throttle as he heads to victory.
NASCAR.
Oh, he loses it. He crashes.
SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Also streaming on the SXM app.
Oh, hell yeah.
Even though Napa is a nationally known name, nearly all of our stores are built from the ground up by local owners and families. People you might call neighbors will be here, there, and everywhere, doing what neighbors do to keep their communities moving forward. You stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, you can count on Napa know-how.
Tonight's Race Time Radio is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts Stores, New Glasgow, Antigonish, and Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia. You can count on Napa know-how. BP Race Fuels, the worldwide leader in race fuel technology.
Soccer is a passion that goes beyond the sport, and SiriusXM FC's podcast, More Than a Game, brings that passion to you.
Can you believe it?
In each episode, FC's panel of experts take a deep dive into club histories, iconic grounds,
Anfield has erupted,
bitter rivalries, and so much more.
There's nothing like a derby day in Manchester.
New episodes are available weekly by downloading the SiriusXM app and searching More Than a Game.
From the high banks of Daytona. Cover it all. Ooh, that's going to leave a mark. And now, back to the Joes.
Hey, shake and bake, Cal. Woo! Shake and bake!
Here on RaceTime Radio.
And welcome back, everybody, to Race Time Radio. Just the one Joe here tonight. The other Joe, not feeling so well. He's under the weather. He is going to heal up. He had a smoking headache, so he said, Dad, I don't think I can do it tonight. I said, don't worry about it. Take a night. And that's what he's done. So hopefully he gets rid of that head knocker. And he's got a busy weekend next weekend doing Motorama. And I had a jam-packed show, and just can't wait to get to our next guest. He's looking just super fine. His name is Trevor Seibert, of course. All things out in BC, whether it's RS1 Cup Series racing, Western Rattler, the second annual Western Rattler 300 weekend, Penticton Speedway, Area 27, and oh, might I add, the guy also drives in each of those series. And he is one accomplished racer, and he joins us now on the Zoom line. Trevor Seibert, what's going on? How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Excuse me, doing good, Joe. How you hear me okay?
We can not only hear you, but we can see you real good, too, and it's nice to see. How are things going out there in BC? You got any tulips popping out of the ground yet, buddy?
You know, we got a little bit of winter here still, and I see that you're getting it back east there as well. But yeah, we got a pretty good dump of snow on the Coquihalla the other day. Shut the highway down for a period of time. I think they got a couple feet up there.
Wow.
So yeah, I was just talking to somebody today. You know, it was only a few years ago I was out riding. I'm at home in Vancouver tonight, but I, back in January a couple of years ago, I was already riding my Harley around down here, and there's no snow here now. It was snowing a bit the other night, but it's cool. I think it's only 4 or 5 degrees, but anyway, can't complain. Spring is coming.
Hey, do you know what? It's better to have the cool air right now at the beginning of March, and then by the time we get out there on May the 4th, 5th, 6th, it's going to be unbelievable weather. I know last year, Trevor, it was gorgeous for the Western Rattler 300, the first ever Western Rattler 300. It was gorgeous through the day. It did chill off at night, but you guys wouldn't have known it in the race cars. It probably was a perfect air temperature for you guys.
It was great for the drivers and the cars. There's no question. I mean, everything runs nice and cool when it's like that. But it was too cold. It was too cold for the fans, and that was abnormally cold for Penticton. I mean, the year prior, we were rebuilding the racetrack. We were pouring concrete out there, wearing T-shirts a couple of weeks prior to that event last year, like of the same date. But it was a pretty good cold snap last year, as you know, and he froze your butt off sitting up there in the announcer booth, and so did a bunch of other people. And it's unfortunate because it's hard on fans when it's like that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them come, they got small kids, and they just can't handle it. And the parents, they'll stick it out. They can go warm themselves up, right, and have a coffee or something. But it's pretty hard on the kids. So once the kids are tired and cold, then they want to go home, right? So.
Yeah.
We moved it ahead another week this year just to try and give us a little advantage on the weather. But like I say, that's unseasonable for it to be that cold like it was last year. So I don't think we'll have that this year.
No, we're going to be in good shape this year. How are things coming? Registrations are now open for the Western Rattler 300. So I can well imagine you're going to start hearing from teams from all over the place. I've been in touch with quite a few of them that have shown intention. I'm going. Are you kidding me? I'm not missing the 300. I know Matt Shirley out of Saskatoon. He said, oh, my God, I can't believe it. I have to work that weekend, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make that change so that he said, I don't care what weekend I got to work, but I do not want to miss that 300. So I know there's some guys like that. I have heard of guys like Trent Seidel, also out of Saskatoon, that have thrown their hat in the ring. They are going to show up this year at the 300. I can imagine the phone's going to start ringing and ringing heavy.
Well, it already has been, right? We're getting a lot of attention from the boys across the border too. This time around, we had COVID before, and the passport whole thing with the COVID passport, and a lot of people just simply didn't have it, and even if they did, they weren't that interested in coming across and dealing with the whole thing. So that's gone, that's behind us now, and it's getting a lot of attention from down there, and we made a couple of changes here the last few days that I think we got quite a few fish on that, at least nibbling at the hook, that I think we're going to be able to reel them in. I really want this thing to be an international flavor and a national flavor as well for Canada. We had Kyle Reed come out and give us a hard time last year, a hell of a driver, and I think he's coming back from what I understand. And
no thinking about it, Trev. No thinking about it. He is coming. I know that for sure. We've had him on the show.
I know that. I think he's coming out here to tune us up, and that's good. I think the world of him. He put on a hell of a show last year with the way he drove that car and stuff. So, and I know he had some problems with the car too. That if he didn't have some misfortune with a few things, he probably would have been at the front. So, anyways, he's from back east, and I know he works in Fort Mac, but we consider him a Nova Scotia guy, I think is where he's from originally. And for sure the guys from Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, and that area, and some Albertans. And then we've got a lot of attention coming in now from Washington, Oregon, and those series that are just across the border from us. Is really not that far to Tri-Cities and the old Yakima track and Meridian. There's a bunch of them that are just across the border, 3-4 hours from us.
Yeah, I was really surprised. But, from a guy from Ontario, I think of British Columbia, I think of how vast it is. It's such a beautiful province. And I didn't draw the relationship on how close those other tracks were. Like we're talking 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5 hours at the outside. And then you look at a guy out of Saskatoon, he's rolling in 16 hours across, It makes it kind of, I look at it and go, wow, that shocks me. But in the same respect, it does tell you a lot about the event and what kind of momentum is being built to go and take that ball and push it down, push it down the field. You got a guaranteed winner here. I could not believe the Western Rattler 300 last year on how fast it ran, how professional it was ran, the teams that were involved. Like I'm talking front to back. Hey, you'll remember this, Trev. Now, you were running second at the time, so you weren't looking too much behind you. But I can tell you from where Cole and I were standing and, Brad Mann down on the infield, we still had like 20 cars on the lead lap, and we're in the second half of the race. That's crazy. You never hear that.
Well, I think the biggest advantage that we have with that racetrack is when we redesigned it and rebuilt it. The one end, turn 1 and 2, all we've done is repave it, so it's got the same geometry for the most part that it always had. But turn 3 and 4, our goal was to turn it into a 2-line track, and that absolutely happened with the progressive banking that we put in there. And I don't know of a track that's steeper than this one anywhere in Canada that I know of. So when you get up in the top groove, you got a big advantage to be able to stay up there. And once you have, 2 grooves, I think it really changes things, because let's be serious, a lot of people get bottled up in traffic. It's not necessarily that they're a lap down type of a car. Right. They just got into a situation where there's a traffic jam ahead of them and they can't do anything about it. Maybe they are a faster car, but a couple of guys are racing each other up there, and they can't get by each other because there's only one groove, and unless somebody's doing a bump and run, and hopefully there's not too much of that early on in the race because you have a lot of wrecks. Right. So that was just my whole philosophy there when I redesigned that place to turn it into a solid 2-groove tracks. And it's arguable. Like, you can run up high, you run down low, and you can run there all night long. And that's what really promotes having cars on the lead lap, and good side-by-side racing and not a lot of yellows. So we're extremely happy about that. It's inherent in these short tracks that it's a single lane, and it's very tough. I was watching a couple of them on RevTV there today, and there was good racing, but you see these different tracks. Some are better than others, that they still have, call it a groove and a half, where if a guy's got a better car, he can go outside, he can make it work after 4 or 5 laps, and he better get by and get it done, or he's going to wear himself out there, but at least he can get by. But there's a lot of other tracks that I've raced at over the years, and I tell you, you're just not going around the outside. It doesn't matter.
Now, you got to hit the guy and move him out of the way to get the spot. And then the preferred passing lane is on the inside, and it shouldn't be. You should be able to go to the outside and actually, make your car work out there. And some guys set up to the outside. They can't quite conceivably work down low. It's so funny, talking to Jason White, which was in the 300 last year. Of course, we see him in RS1 competition out in BC. He was at Daytona in the ARCA race, in the truck race, and I had him on Race Time Radio Sunday night after the 2 big races, and he almost won that ARCA race. He said my spotter was in my ear saying, paint that yellow line right around the bottom of the racetrack. Don't leave the yellow line. Stay down low. And with so many racetracks, that's all you can do is pin it to the bottom and stay there. You can't go to the outside. But at Penticton, even last year, Trev, when we had the bump down in turn 3-4, it was right on, I don't know, the entrance of turn 4, is that safe to say, like right in between 3 and 4? If you straddled that bump and went to the high side, you could make it work. But if you hit that bump, it did upset the race car.
Yeah, that's down in turn 1 and 2. Yeah.
Down in turn 1 and 2. That end of the track. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of guys said, well, we should have kept it, and I heard all kinds of stuff. I actually, if your car works better than the rest in that bump, of course you want to keep it, right? Because it's a challenge to get your car to work in there. But the minute your car doesn't work there, you want it gone. So it was the right thing to do to get rid of it, and I think some people are concerned that it's going to change the lines on that track. Well, it will change them for sure, but I don't think it's going to give up being a 2-line track. I really don't believe that, because when we rebuilt the speedway, the front stretch, I put a big arc in it. The wall used to be straight. Now it has probably a 1.5 car width at the flag tower, wider than it was, and then it comes back, and it actually doesn't even join in where the wall used to be. It's wider even at the corner than it used to be. So you can arc the car in there, which really helps promote running the high line because you don't have any progressive banking down there. But if you can stay outside and arc the car in, then you've still got enough advantage on the outside line to make up the distance difference, and you get down the backstretch there, even equal, well, you're good through 3 and 4 again. So it's back and forth. It's just inches at a time, back and forth. And I don't think it's going to change much. I know it's going to improve things. And, I did mention Kyle there earlier. I think he was one of the ones that I think he lost some bolts out of a sway bar or something near the end there.
He did. He did.
Yeah. And, that doesn't make for great racing, right? When you break a lot of cars because of bumps he had in there. And so I've never liked to win races because of attrition. I've always been one that if I'm going to win a race, I want to know that everybody else is running and they gave me their best shot, and you know, won that day, was better that day. And so, you know, it's, you always find the different racers, right? The guys that break down on the highway, and the guys find out and they're all excited because he's not going to be able to make it. And I've never understood that in my life. And you know, I just don't get it. You know, I'll go help the guy get here because if I win, I want to win and beat that person, right? Yeah. So it's, you know, like I say, it's the same with the racetrack. I got to think of it the same way. I got to give all the best advantages I can so that we're not breaking cars, you know, and having attrition because the track's not up to snuff.
You bet. We're with Trevor Seibert tonight. He is out in British Columbia. Penticton Speedway is going to be the site again for the Western Rattler 300 coming up May 4th, 5th, 6th. You want to be there the 3 days. I know we got racing 2 days, but you're going to want to be there all three. We got practice in there, and things going to be setting up for what is going to be another huge, huge weekend. And the kickoff, really, to the short track end of life here in Canada. We got a lot of great races, but I'll tell you what, the Western Rattler is the one that kicks everything off, and there is nothing that is 300 laps in length for a pro late model anywhere in this country other than the Western Rattler 300. That was by design, all the brainchild of our guest, Trevor Seibert. Trev, looking at the 300, we got any kinks? We got anything that you're going to change? I don't know what you could change to make it better than you did last year.
Well, you know, again, you listen to a lot of people, and you have to, you know, take it all in because you can't make everybody happy. You know, you try and do something that you spread it out so that more competitors are able to compete at and have some parity. So we, you know, with the West Car guys out here and I guess the BC late models, the guys off the island and stuff, you know, they're running a lesser car. It's just, we'll call it what it is. But what we did is we gave them advantage last year, not advantage against us, but an advantage against what they would normally run by lightening up their car a whole bunch. And, but some of them can't get down there. They just can't get down to the weights that we're allowing. So, you know, some can, some can't, depending on, you know, how old the car is and how it was built and everything else. So, as you know, we had qualifying last year to lock in the top 12, and then we had what we call the Baker's Dozen, which was to pull out like a race on Friday night to pull out another 13 cars and add that to the mix, and that brought us up to 25. And then we had the 303 was set aside that if we have enough cars and we need to have a last chance qualifier, that's what that is for Saturday night to fill our field of 28 cars. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we looked at that and we talked to the organizations there that are running those cars, and the West Car guys wanted to start their season with us and run a points event there, and they were really hoping to have a standalone event. So you know, we capitulated with that and we said, well, yeah, let's look at this. So what we've done is we've done away with the Baker's Dozen. And so the way the weekend's going to work now is after time trials, we'll have 22 cars will be locked in to the Western Rattler 300.
Okay.
Then we're going to have a completely separate race on Friday night for only the West Car legal type cars. So that'll include the guys from the island, you know, the BC late models, I think they call themselves. So they all run basically the same rule book.
Right.
The pro lates and super lates won't be eligible for that race anymore.
Right.
And so that'll be a Friday night standalone thing. They can run their points. And the biggest problem was because some of the cars couldn't get down to the weights, they were concerned about getting a full field of their cars to show up because some of them would be simply packing too much weight. So now they're going to run their rules with their weights on Friday night, a standalone race. We're probably going to have a great car count for that. Mm-hmm. They're fully behind it. We've talked to the organizers of that, and they're pretty excited about it. We're pretty excited about it. The top 3 finishing positions will be guaranteed a starting spot in the Western Rattler 300.
Oh man, that's a cool idea.
Exactly. So now they're running for their own points and they're running for their own prize money. So they're not trying to race against, a different style of car or something like that to win some money on Friday night. And they're racing against each other only to advance into the Western Rattler 300.
How cool is that?
So we're calling that the Snakebite 125. We're giving them 125 laps. It'll be a great show Friday night. We're running the street stocks Friday night like we did last year.
Right.
And so it'll be a nice package for Friday night to set the whole weekend off. Now, like I say, all the qualifying is happening on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've done for the Western Rattler 300, though, is we've added another $10,000 to the winning purse. So we're now $20,000 to win the Western Rattler 300.
No
and we
way.
didn't pop any of the positions below it. Like second place is still $5,000, so it's really strong payout.
Yeah, only $5,000 for second, right? Just only $5,000.
Yeah,
that's more than a lot of shows pay to win.
It sure is. I mean, I've done my homework. I've looked around and stuff. And the other thing is, it may have influenced us a little bit, but I'm looking at some of the payouts that they have in the U.S. and there's a lot of $10,000 races across the border.
Yep.
There's one race in particular coming up this summer. That's a $20,000 thing. But the disadvantage we have, of course, is for getting U.S. drivers. They're getting paid in Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same old thing that you hear with the hockey players all the time. Getting parity on dollars, and so we stepped up and we added another $10,000 on that. So it's $20,000. Someone's going to be holding a $20,000 check. And I know that, like I said earlier, we had a bunch of fish on. At least nibbling at the hook. I'm pretty sure that the hook will be set now.
Oh,
as we get the international flavor there.
Yeah, well, you put more than enough bait on, bud. I would say you're going to catch more than a couple on this one. $20,000 to win the Western Rattler 300. You can almost hear the race teams firing up the haulers in Ontario going, okay, all bets off, I got to go now. What else pays $20,000? Not even a Pinty's race pays $20,000, my friend. I don't know of another race anywhere in Canada that's going to pay $20,000 to win. That's amazing. It really is. Good on you. And how about it for Friday night? The Westcar guys, the BC late models. I know what you're talking about. I watched the Canada 200 that took place at Western Speedway, the last race that's ever going to happen at that racetrack. It took place last September with long weekend. I watched it on RevTV, and I can't help but say, Trevor, there was, I'm going to say, maybe 7 or 8 cars at the front of the field that were Western Rattler caliber. I don't know whether that's the right word or not, but caliber. And then the rest of the field, bless their souls, they had late models, but you could see the cars weren't up to date with the guys that were running at the very front of the field. There seemed to be a big separation between the haves and the have-nots in that particular race. Hey, this would be kind of cool. If they're not going out and running against the bullets, they're going to have an opportunity to win that Snakebite 125 and then qualify for the Western Rattler the 300 the next day. Hey, man, that's really saying something. Good job.
Well, yeah, and so it gives them a standalone race, and we want to. I'm fully committed, and the track is fully committed to helping to rebuild late model racing, all racing, but in particular late model racing for this event. In BC, and we've already got a lot of traction on it already from what we did last year, and So we did listen to these guys that are concerned that they don't have good enough equipment, to come and run that race. But we do know that last year we had a couple of West cars inside the top 10. One finished 5th and one finished 7th. They say it all the time.
Yeah.
They didn't need the lucky dog in 300 laps to stay on the lead lap. So the parity is there. Well, what they'll have to do this year is, because they're going to run Friday night with their own weight rules, and they'll have to pull the weight out of the car.
Right.
They should pull the weight out of the car.
I was just going to say, they don't have to, right? If they want to run 300 pounds heavy.
If they're overweight, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to pull it out.
Sure.
And give themselves a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, we'll have the top 3 that are in there. The other thing that we're doing is in the 303, the way I've set it up So of course you lock in the top 22, but the West Car guys won't be running for that qualifying.
Right.
They'll be running for their own starting position.
Right.
But if they truly want to be in the 300 and they're not inside those 3 that were getting automatic, I've set the rules so that they're welcome to join the last chance qualifier for the 300. So there's a back doorway in for them to do that.
Oh, no, that's cool too.
Well, I don't want to find out that there's 4 or 5 guys that prefer to run them both, and because they're overweight on Friday night when we're qualifying, they can't qualify for the other one. They probably won't make it in, right? But
right.
It still gives them that back door. We're guaranteeing the podium finishers a way in, so they lock that in, and
right.
then the other guys can give it a go. And who knows how many people will be in that last chance qualifier? There could be 6, there could be 16. I don't know.
That's right.
We'll see what shows up. Right?
And you don't know. Like if you cut a tire down on Friday night in the 125, you cut a tire down and you go down laps. Well, you could have had a really good day, but you ran over something, or you cut a tire down and it ended your day. Now you can't make the 300, but now with this race, you still have an opportunity to get in. Trevor,
absolutely.
You guys have really thought of everything with this. Good on you guys.
Well, a lot of it comes from my own experience. When you travel a long way, I raced all over North America, and you know what kind of money you spend and the time you put into it, and have something silly happen in qualifying, and now you're loading up and you're going home, and you got no chance. And so I do think of those situations where a guy's out trying to qualify, and I don't know, a plug goes on him or something like that, and he's misses the cutoff, or something happens, like you say, in the Friday night race where cuts a tire down and now it's loaded up and go home, or you have this last chance. And that's what a last chance is. It's like if everything went poor for you to date, this weekend, there's one more shot at it for you.
So that last chance is going to happen Saturday, right?
Yes, yeah. Exactly. It's the first race of the night, so that we can get it out of the way, and then obviously the guys got to get their cars sorted out to get in the race, and then we'll run our Venom 100 street stock event.
Awesome race as well.
Western Rattler 300. So it gives them an opportunity, whatever that is, an hour and a half or something like that.
Right. Finish
the qualifying race, and if they're in the deal, they make it to the show. They got a little bit of time to kind of get their car ready to go, get it through tech, and get in the lineup.
Wow, what a game changer this is going to be. Listen, the Western Rattler 300 was already huge, okay? You just made it, I don't know if there's another superlative for huge, but whatever it is, that's what you just made this. This is outstanding now. To pay $20,000 to the winner, to work with different forms of late models, to give them an opportunity to get in, and then allow them, the top 3 plus the last chance qualified guys to get in. This is amazing. And the Pro Late guys don't have to worry about, I'm not going to get more laps on my car like I wanted to for the 300, because they still have huge opportunity for practice on Thursday, guaranteed. I was there last year for Thursday. It was incredible watching all the teams go out there and practice. I think of Riley. When Riley Seibert went out there, the 09 car that eventually won the 300, I watched him on Thursday, Brad Mann and I, up at the fence watching. The 34 car did rocket fast. Brendan Carlson was out there. Boom, to the top of the board he went. He stayed there for a while. Then the 12 car of Matt Shirley went out. Boom, he goes to the top of the board. And I went, Riley went out, you went out, you guys were down there. And I'm thinking, wow, home track guys aren't really doing well here. And towards the end of practice, all of a sudden, there goes the 69, kaboom, to the top of the board. And I said to Brad, no one's stopping Trevor's time, nobody. And along comes Riley, popped the old boy off the top. And he ended up taking the cake. I know it was practice, but everybody wants those bragging rights. And I'll tell you, even Thursday's practice session was incredible to watch.
It is really a funny thing. And there's, quite a bit of competition between Riley and myself. And the car's put away and we're done practice, except, when Dad goes out and rips one off and goes a little bit faster, then all of a sudden, maybe I should just go for one more go. And he'll go out and and put a flyer in and just to bump me down in the second and practice and come out and give me the nod or whatever. And I do it to him too. It's actually kind of funny, but it's motivating, right? It gets you going, and that's, everybody always has their kind of nemesis. It's funny though, when you get that competitive with your son, it's pretty cool actually for us. But I tell people too, like, they think we got hometown advantage, but I don't know. Riley qualified 6th last year after it was all said and done. And I was 8th. Yeah. And I tell you, the guys were pretty solidly ahead of me. I think they were close to 0.2 of a second they had on me. Yeah. And so, I kind of like that, not being back there. I kind of like the fact that, we finished 1-2 in the race, but we kind of had to go about it a little differently. They weren't necessarily quick as cars, but, I can't speak for Riley, but for me, a long race like that, you got to play your strategy, and you just got to be consistent, not wear your stuff out and do it a certain way. And it paid off. So, you might be the quickest in practice and you might be the quickest in qualifying, but you really need to be the quickest when it comes to the last lap.
So, when the pay window opens up, you want to be exactly where Riley Seibert was in that 09 machine. Just amazing. What a race last year. And this one's going to be even better. Trevor Seibert, we're right up alongside the top of the hour. Got to throw the keys back to RevTV Canada and to SiriusXM. But, man, did you drop a bombshell. I never expected that to come out of you tonight. But thank you for that. And I know the racing community across Canada is going to thank you, probably personally, after this. Trevor, this is huge news. And, man, I can't wait for the 300. You yet again have gone above and beyond to make this Canada's true kickoff, and this is going to be incredible.
Well, we want to have our identity right out here in Western Canada, and we, there's some other great races throughout Canada, and the Canada 200 obviously had their namesake for them for many years, and we just want to have ours, and that's why we're throwing some money at it, and want to get the flavor, want to get long distance haulers, coming. I think it's awesome when you introduce the drivers to the fans and you can start naming places back east or Saskatchewan or Oregon or Washington. I think the fans understand that they're here to watch the best of the best.
Yeah. And they are. This is going to be incredible. I plan on getting a pile of racers on this program to talk about what they're going to expect to see at the Western Rattler 300. And we can't forget about the street stock guys. The Venom 100, I'll tell you what, 2 great street stock races last year. I know we expect the same. And now the Westcar guys, oh, man, we got our work cut out, man, and time's a-ticking.
3 great classes of cars there, without a doubt. And the street stock guys are a great anchor. I shouldn't say guys and gals.
Guys and girls, yeah.
A lot of great lady race car drivers now, around the whole country, and it comes right down to it. So it's going to be a great night. We're super excited about it. The thing keeps growing. This is our 2nd year. We're learning some things. We're trying some things, and but we're getting a ton of positive feedback.
Trevor Seibert, thank you so much for jumping on here tonight and sharing that news with us. And I know I'll look forward to catching up with you again in real short order, and we'll see how things are coming together for this year's Western Rattler 300. Thanks so much for the time, buddy, and make sure you say hi to my whole Penticton family out there, will you?
I'll do that. Thanks a lot, Joe. Always appreciate being on your show.
You bet. That's Trevor Seibert. Watch out. Man, can you believe it? 20 grand to win. And Westcar, the field opens up for that. Those guys qualify. Man, I'll tell you what, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait for everything to get ready to go. And, of course, Race Time Radio, going to have it all for you live. And we'll get you up to date on absolutely everything heading in to that race. We'll hear from competitors from coast to coast, wherever they're coming from. Down in the U.S., of course, we're down there as well. And just look forward to absolutely all of it. Got to welcome Leaf Racewear, part of the Race Time Radio family now. Colin, thank you so much. And Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, back on board with Race Time Radio for 2023. We got lots to come at you, but that's going to do it for us here tonight in the Race Time Radio studio. Want to thank you all for tuning in, whichever way you've done so. Thanks so much. For Susie Q, I am Joe Chisholm, And Joe Jr. will be back with us. No, not next week. He'll be at the show. But the week after that, we will be back with you. Absolutely. And look forward to it. Have a good one, everybody. Be safe. See you at Motorama next weekend.
Thanks for listening to Race Time Radio. Visit us on the web at www.racetimeradio.com. We hope you'll join us again next time for more Race Time Radio.
Come on now, dig.
Exclusively on your home for the hardcore race fan.
Excellent, buddy. Excellent.